Welcome back, this is Asterion from Asterion Gaming. Today we're running the Wrath of the Lich King dungeon, known as the Nexus. Now was one of the starter dungeons when you came to this expansion. It involves the Blue Dragonflight. Let's get started. As you can see, with all the current updates, now all the dungeon quest givers are going to be here for you. Back then, you would do a quest chain to get the dungeon quest. And as you see in there, that's actually the final boss. You have to take out all the other bosses in order to get this boss active. And you know, for a change of pace, pretty much almost every group goes to the left. We're going to actually go to the left because that's how it works out. Going to the right makes it a bit more of a pain. The left is actually set up that you can hit all the bosses in one shot. It's actually the most efficient pathway. Now the blue dragons you see here walking these patrolways here, they have something called stealth detection. If you're a stealther, like a rogue or druid, you go stealth, you'll see a little blue eye above them when you're in stealth. That means they have increased stealth detect. So you want to try to stay away from them if possible. Because if you get within the radius of their detect, they attack you. Now this part, you see there's Frozen Alliance characters here. If you're Alliance playing this dungeon, you'll see Horde. There's actually a boss here on Heroic, more or less, that you kill. But for everything, we're just going to try to pull everything.
What? Where in the... Don't just stand around, lads! Kill somebody! Is that all you...
Now you saw there was actually a book laying there. That's part of the quest you can pick up in this dungeon. As for the dwarf boss there, for the Horde side, if I remember right, he does a thunderclap, which can slow you down. He also has a whirlwind, which has a cast timer on it. You really, for melee, you don't want to be standing in that because that can take a lot of your HP. And if you don't have a lot at the point, it kills you.
Enjoy that.
Now, if you actually just heard that voice, that's the weapon I have equipped. The Blade of the Black Empire. Periodically, she talks as I kill stuff. Now, this is a boss here. The Grand Magnus Tessera. She's basically a mage who can use all three spell types, Arcane, Fire, and Frost. And partway through the battle, at percentages, I believe it's 66 and 33. So split into three forms, which is Fire, Arcane, and Frost. You have to defeat those forms in order to get her to spawn back in. And it's a rinse and repeat. Now there's an achievement that if you take down all three forms within a certain amount of time, in both phases, you'll get it. But for me, I should be able to one-shot her.
You know what they say about curiosity.
And like I said, if I have a character here that can gather up mats like that, skinning, herbalism, even mining, I take the advantage because AH does fluctuate, but you also can get money off this eventually. Pick the right time. Now you saw that rift there I just took out. As you can see, these little shade-looking guys, that's what comes out of those rifts. So that's different from when it comes to the boss up there. As for here, instead of having to go down, and to be honest, if you're a warlock, a hunter, or even a mage, it's best to dismiss your pet before you take the jump. You don't want to really pull the other group there. You make your group pretty mad. Now, back then we killed the Kraig's Mana Surger first. Because as you can see, this tranquility effect, it's actually a mana restorative effect. Now we're up to anomalous. For this boss, he actually has an achieve. Basically would have you clear out most of the stuff here, and you just basically keep kiting him through this whole area. Basically, you don't let him do his second phase where the rifts that he spawns will make him invincible, and you have to destroy the rifts while you're getting hit by AoE damage in order to get him from his invincibility phase back to a phase you can damage him. Let's use Mind Blast on him. Now, the other quest you'll grab here requires you to use a device at this rift part here. Now, as you can see, the path we took left is actually the most efficient, like I said earlier. It has you hitting all the bosses up. Now, if you went right, you would have to fight more mobs, and it takes a bit longer. Now you see these little plant guys here? These go dormant for a little bit. They also give you a small buff if you stand within their radius when they're defeated. As you see, it went back into a pod. After a while, it comes back out of its pod. So you don't want to linger too long. Now, the other quest for this area requires you to take out these big guys to pick up arcane splitters. Which I actually never finished that quest in this one. That's why I decided to grab it. It's a little extra gold in the pocket. No one ever argues about having the extra gold, right? Now, herbalism can get the tree ants here. But also, that shield they have on them can freeze you in place for a few seconds if you're unlucky to proc it. Now for Omarok, the Tree Shaper. This guy, plain and simple, is a tank and spank. The only thing you really have to avoid is his Icicle AoE. You'll see it show up on the ground first, and all you have to do is move out of the way before he casts it into spikes. For this fight, we usually would pull one or two of these little guys up here, take them out while we're fighting them. That way we get the buff they give us while they're in their pods. And this one we're just going to take out in one hit, I guess. And as you can see, once you defeat him, all these little plant guys, they die. And here we go this way. Do a quick jump down, and it'll take us right to the final boss. Apparently I must have gotten an achievement for looting enough money. Now, if you want to know how this red dragon became the boss in this dungeon, I would advise you to go through the quest chain. I don't want to give any spoilers on this one here. Now, once all 3 bosses are done, you see these orbs here. You can actually click them
I am out of
to
range.
activate them, which will turn off these frost little showers here and free her. As you can see, they're controlling those. Now, as for this boss, you get a debuff on you while you're standing still. To remove it, you move. But the problem is, she'll frost nova you guys in place, and the debuff will come up on you. Now, there was an achievement back then that required you to take her out before that debuff got to a certain amount of stacks. So, back then the fight was a bit challenging because unless you had a way to get out of the frost nova, that debuff would hurt you, especially for casters who had to constantly move because of the debuff. Kind of sucked, especially on heroic.
Preserve? Why? There's no truth in it. Dragon, no. Life binder. Only in the taking. Me. I see that now.
As you see, her monologue, she don't just stand there and finish it. She comes right at you when you let her out. So. But this has been the Nexus, as you can see. Well, this has been Astarion from Astarion Gaming, asking you to please like and subscribe to the videos. I will see you guys in the next one.